Alright, here we're going to go over these. Um, we're going to simplify using our power and our exponent rules. Alright, the first thing I would do is here is go ahead and we're going to combine these so that we get r to the negative 4 is equal to 3 plus 4. So we get r to the negative 4 over r to the 7. Okay, now we're going to use the quotient property so that we end up with r to the negative 4 minus 7, so we end up with r to the negative 11. And we don't own the negative exponent, so we can only use positive, so we'll put it underneath, and we end up with 1 over r to the 11th. Alright, for number 2, what I'm going to start out with is do the power. So let's go m cubed. Okay, so it's going to be 1 times 3 for the power, and then 4 times 3. And then we have m cubed times that, so it's going to be plus 1. Same as having 1 here. So let's go ahead and clean this up. Alright, so let's go ahead and do 2 times, well, I'll go step by step. M to the third, 2 to the third, m to the 12th, over m to the negative 2. Combine these based on their signs, multiplying these two together. Alright, so 2 cubed, we're going to go ahead and deal with that. 2 cubed, 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. So we have m. We're multiplying here, so we're going to end up adding, so it'll be 3 plus 12. Well, it doesn't want to write, so we'll go 12. Okay, on top, and then on bottom, we still have m to the negative 2. Okay, so now I'll bring it down over here. So we have 8m, okay, to the 15th over m negative 2. We're going to end up subtracting, or setting it up as a subtraction. 15 minus negative 2, so it becomes plus. So we end up with 8m to the 17th. Alright, number 3. Let's go ahead. This right here, we can just write that as 1. Anything with 0 power is 1. So we have x squared over x to the negative 4. So we end up with 2 minus negative 4. So it's going to be x to the 6th. Alright, number 4. Again, anytime you have anything with 0 power, it's 1. So we can, this is 1. Okay, so we end up with 1. I'm going to go ahead and multiply these. Now remember, it may help to write that in. So it's going to be 2 to the negative 4. Negative 4 times 4 gives us m to the negative 16th. And then we have m to the negative 4 out here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and I'm going to combine these. So we're multiplying them together underneath, so it's going to be plus, so that we end up with 1 over 2 to the negative 4 m to the negative 20. Alright, now to get rid of the negative exponents, we bring them to the top. So we'll have 2 to the 4th m to the 20th, and we can clean this up by just going 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. So we end up with 16 m to the 20th. Alright, again, that's 1. Let's go ahead and deal with that. So we have 2k to the negative 2nd over k to the 4th. We're dividing here, so we'll set it up as 2k minus 2 minus 4. So end up with 2k to the negative 6. To get rid of the negative, we put it underneath, so we get 2k to the 6th. Alright, here, let's go ahead and we get x. We'll go ahead and multiply these together. So we get a negative 6 here. Here, I'm just going to bring the 2 in front, so it's going to be x to the negative 3 plus, because we're multiplying underneath here, plus negative 2. So we end up with x to the negative 6 over 2x. Both are negative, so we're going to go ahead and add and keep the sign, so we get negative 5. And now we're going to do the division part. So we'll have x to the negative 6. Okay, and then we're going to subtract a negative 5. So then we're going to end up actually adding. So we end up with x to the negative 6 plus 5. So we end up with x to the negative 1 over 2. Okay, so we're just going to bring this back down so that we get 1 over 2x. Alright, number 7. N to the 0 power is 1. So we end up with 1. Okay, I'm going to deal with this. The power of the power. So n to the 4th becomes n to the 16th because we're multiplying these two. Okay, and so then we end up with 1 over n. Since we're multiplying here, we're going to go negative 4 plus 16. Different sign, subtract. So we end up with 1 over n to the 12th. Okay, and so that's positive, so we're going to leave it alone. Alright, here we're going to end up with 2x to the negative 3. I'm going to deal with this. So 3 times 1, so I get, and don't forget to take 2 to the 3rd power. So it'd be 2 to the 3rd x to the negative 3 over 2x minus 1. Okay, we got a lot going on here. So let's go ahead and take 2 to the 3rd power. So it's 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. So we have 2 times 8 times x minus 3 times x minus, minus 3, x to the negative 3rd, x to the negative 3rd, over 2x to the negative 1. Going to go ahead and multiply this out. So I get 16, then it's x. We're multiplying here, so we end up adding our exponents. Okay, so we end up with 16x to the negative 6 over 2x to the negative 1. I'm going to go ahead and divide out. So 2 goes into itself 1 time, 2 goes in there, 8. So we end up with 8. And then since we're dividing with exponents, we're going to subtract. So it'll be negative 6 minus negative 1. So the double negatives, so it's going to end up being plus. We end up with 8x to the negative 6 plus 1. So we end up subtracting. So we get 8x to the negative 5th. Okay, and to get rid of the negative exponent, we write it underneath, so we end up with 8x to the 5th. Alright, here, p to the 0 power is 1. That's the only thing that becomes 1 that doesn't affect the 2. Okay, and so we're going to end up with 2p, 2. I'm going to go ahead and multiply the 3 times negative 2, so I get p to the negative 6. Okay, and so we end up with now 2 and 2, that'll reduce to 1. So that reduces to 1. Okay, now we have p to the 1st, okay, minus negative 6. So it's going to be end up being plus. So end up with p to the 7th. Alright, number 10. Power of the power, so we're going to go n to the 12th times 2n over 2n cubed. I'm going to rewrite this so that I get 2n. Remember, this is to the 1, so it's 12 plus 1 over 2 n to the 3rd. That's going to reduce out to be 1. So we end up with n to the 13th over n to the 3rd. Now we're going to divide, so we're going to end up subtracting, so we end up with n to the 10th. Alright, so that's some work with our first standard. And this was the homework for the first day.